Thank you to Sponsor Money for rocketing this video. I mean, Rocket Money for sponsoring this video. More on them later. Okay, so I've been sitting here trying to figure out how to help you save money without talking about things that I've already talked about and that everyone already talks about. Yes, you gotta get the technical basics down. So here's the technical basics real quick. What I talked about in my $20 rule video. Every time you get paid, take a small amount of money, put it in a separate account just for that pile of money, and grow it slowly. Or fastly if you can afford it, while also paying your bills and your minimum debt payments until you get an emergency fund. 2 to 3 months, some say 6 months of expenses. The emergency fund gives you a little buffer in case bad stuff happens, unless a big bad stuff happens, and in which case I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And then you start paying off your debt, either with a debt avalanche or a debt snowball. Debt avalanche, paying off the debt with the highest interest first and so on, which makes the most sense mathematically and you'll save the most money, but mentally the debt snowball I find to work very well, which is pay off the smallest debt first, regardless of how much interest, because once you get that done, you get a win, you feel the win, and then you're motivated and you do the next one and the next one and the next one. Once all your debts are paid off and you start actually building savings, you find ways to invest. Okay, that's technically what you do. Like, how do you do it though? Because that's pretty well known. Most financial people on the internet will tell you to do that. People don't do it because it's hard. And anytime I talk about money, I need to acknowledge that we all come from different places. There are outside forces outside of our control that make things hard and harder for some people than others. I make these videos to give you the best advice I can generally. We don't all start out in an equal place, and there isn't equal things happening to us throughout life. But the best thing I can do is tell you my own experience, because that's the one I know, because that's the one I had. And another thing I need to acknowledge is that anytime I do a video about money, the comments are flooded with an annoying type of spam. Beware of comments that are artificially pushed to the top because they have a ridiculous amount of responses and likes, even though it doesn't make any sense. And they're generally someone talking about a financial problem they had that was solved by some specific financial advisor. Report them. I think it's just annoying and inauthentic and I don't like it. Okay, so that's the technical stuff. But then I was asking myself, how can I help people actually do the thing? I think I got a new angle, a new way to talk about this. I asked myself, what is it about me that made me good at saving money? Because I have been historically good at saving money. I'm not super wealthy and I'm not going to teach you how to get super rich, but I have good money habits. The early 20s, I was a little reckless, but I didn't have a credit card and I didn't get into super debt. I had student debt, but I managed to slowly pay it off. I also have very supportive, helpful parents. That's a privilege I had that many others don't have, but having that comfort allowed me to figure some things out that I'm going to try to help you with. Like, I could be at this point in my YouTube career and still not have money if I didn't have good money habits. So I asked myself, what is it about me in general? Like, my values, my habits, my chutzpah, my je ne sais quoi, the junk in my trunk. You know what I'm talking about? And I've come up with a list of things that I think have helped me. And hopefully they can help you. And here's number 1 on the list. I believe in myself. I'm generally optimistic that I can accomplish the things that I set out to do. You could also say I have a bit of an ego. Or self-confidence. I think if I take on something big, like I'm going to pay off this debt at a certain time, or I'm going to save up this much money, or I'm going to start a YouTube career, even though it didn't even exist as a career when I started, I still believed I was capable of doing something like this. And I think, depending on what you want to do, you are capable of it too. I mean, I don't think you can fly without the aid of machines. This goes for saving money, but this also goes for earning more money. Side hustles, getting paid more for your job you're currently doing, getting a new job, investing in the best investment, yourself. I read this all the time. It sounds nice, but I think it's actually true. Spending money on things that you know will give you a level up. A course, going to school. That initial pile of money I saved back in my mid-20s, I took it and I bought a laptop and started making videos. That wasn't necessarily the best financial decision mathematically, but it was an investment in myself. And I was confident that I was able to do it. I'm not saying the right call right now might be to spend more money on something, to go take a class or buy equipment or something, but maybe. It requires a lot of self-confidence to be able to invest in yourself like that. And my confidence in myself is what has guided me since way back in the beginning, and it is why I'm probably the biggest reason why I'm at where I'm at. Like Locke from Lost. Don't tell me what I can't do! 2, I like numbers. And I trust numbers. Math has always been something that I liked as going to school, and it's something I've been pretty good at. And when I research about saving money and about investing money, I do the math and I trust the math. I get an internal reward. Internal, what's the word? I don't want to say tingles. Okay, we'll go with tingles. When I see the numbers go up, like in Breath of the Wild, money is somewhat important in that game, and I like to see how high I can get that money up there for numbers' sake. They say you're not supposed to care about numbers. It's about quality, not quantity. I don't know if that's always true. I kind of like numbers sometimes. Not the show numbers, because I've never watched it. 3, I assume things won't work out. I am an optimist when it comes to myself and what I think I can accomplish. But I'm a pessimist at any given moment about the specific thing I'm doing. Maybe pessimism's the wrong word. It's more like I play worst case scenarios out in my head all the time. Like if I go to the DMV, I assume I'm gonna bring the wrong stuff. I don't expect the thing to be completed in that moment. I'm already fully expected to fail, so I'm not gonna get frustrated when they're like, oh, sorry, you have to bring this. I'll have to come back. I already expect I'm going to. Often I don't have to, and it's a wonderful surprise. Since I started this YouTube career, I have been waiting for the point where it all comes crashing down and it stops working. I fully picture how it will feel when every video I make fails, when I upload it and suddenly the whole system breaks down and no one watches. Sometimes I know when a video is going to do well, and I'm right about that. The worst times are when I know a video is going to do well and I'm wrong. My expectations are usually low. I guess that's the thing I'm trying to say. Why is that helpful? It helps me prepare. It keeps me on my toes. It doesn't discourage me when things don't work out. I don't quit. Failure is baked into the whole experience. It's part of learning. It's part of the process. It would be ridiculous to expect that you will never fail. But I also think it's ridiculous to get so mad about it when it doesn't work and to quit the first time you try something. I see people do that and I am confused. Why are you so mad right now? Of course, you didn't know what you were doing yet. You're learning. So when you're saving money, you might start putting money away in savings. You might end up realizing you put too much away. You need to take some out. You're like, oh, I'm taking it out. It's over. It doesn't work. No, just adjust. There are infinite ways to do this. Figure out a different one. Another thing I like to do, challenge common wisdom. I tend to not believe the first bit of common wisdom someone gives me at face value. I also don't want to just go down a path because so many others are. Growing up and in my early adult life, I never had the desire to do the typical adult stuff. I just wanted to be in a rock band, and I did it. I lived in a crappy apartment, and I waited tables, not even thinking about how this was going to lead into a career or anything. I never dreamed of a house with a lawn and a garage in the suburbs with a family, good retirement saving. Turns out I did get those things, and I love it. But that was the thing everyone seemed to think you were supposed to do. And I'm always like, I have an aversion to what I'm supposed to do. Not just because I want to be different, but because I think tradition can sometimes blind people. I'm worried we might be missing something if we're all just doing the thing because everyone's doing the thing. They might not be wrong, but I don't know for sure, so I'm skeptical. It allows me to take new paths, make bold decisions. Like, I'm just gonna start putting a bunch of money into savings and not spend it and just see what happens. That doesn't sound too radical, but it feels that way when you first start doing it, especially if you put it somewhere that's gonna take a few days to get it back out. You'd be like, oh, what if I need that money? What if I need it? I think making a big life change, even if it's a very responsible one like saving more money, can feel like you are going against common wisdom. You're not doing what you feel like you should be doing. You're changing the routine. You're busting the cycle. That can be uncomfortable, even if it is going in the healthy direction. I highly value being free of worry. I said this in a previous video about money. It's not what you can do with the money, it's how comfortable it is to have it. It's comfortable because it frees you from worry. There's still worries even when you have money, but there's less. Fewer. My wife would tell me fewer. I don't like worrying about things. Obviously, I picture worst case scenarios all the time, so I spend a lot of time trying to eliminate worries. I have a very organized computer, very organized inbox. I worry about forgetting things, about not getting things done at the right time, which is why I organize. I do have a credit card. I never have it in debt. I use it for rewards, and I'm always paying it off. I make sure I have money invested in the proper places. I said in a previous video, if I won a bunch of money on a game show and they're like, what are you gonna do with the money? I would say, oh, I'll probably invest it in index funds. My aversion to worry leads to being very organized, and it leads to saving. But also what leads to saving is next on the list, I hate shopping. I just hate it on a physical level. I don't like walking around in the store. It drains my energy looking at things and trying to decide what to buy. And then having stuff makes me think, well, where do I put it? How do I make room for it? I'm going to have to get rid of other stuff if I'm going to get more stuff. I have the most stuff around now than I've had in a long time because we've been living in this same house for quite a long time. When you buy a house and you live in it, stuff starts accumulating. It's starting to bother me. I'm going to have to do a purge of a lot of things. I don't hate all stuff. I got a book about Stanley Kubrick in here. It's got pictures of making of his movies and stuff. I like having that around, but that was a gift. I wouldn't probably buy something like that. I did buy this poster from Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse because that's one of the best shots in movie history and it inspires me. I do acquire things sometimes when I have the space and I can afford it. But I ain't gonna just shop. Hate shopping. I much more often regret buying a thing than I do not buying a thing. I loved living in Chicago when I could just own a crappy 91 Corolla that I paid $1,000 for and not even drive often because I could take good public transit, and most places I wanted to go weren't too far away. Whereas now, I'm required to have a car, so we got a little more expensive car and that I have to care about. We need more trains. We need better public transit, damn it. And more bike paths. And no winter, because I can't really bike right now. It's too cold out there. Well, no winter might be coming, and that might be bad. But moving on. I highly value flexibility. This is useful as far as increasing earnings, doing side hustles, or changing careers. Early on in my adult life, I didn't go all in on a career. I wanted to stay flexible. I was in a band. I wanted to go on tour sometimes, play shows. So I waited tables where I could make my own schedule. And when I left the job, I left the job. I wasn't on call. I wasn't thinking about it when I was gone. Except for, what would you call them, wait staff dreams, where you dream about waiting tables. That's a real thing for people who wait tables. And it kind of sucks. I remember in one dream I was working in a restaurant with multiple levels, and I had like one table here and one table on level 3, and I even had a table outside, and it was a constant battle and never getting them what they wanted on time. Oh, it was stressful. But besides that, when you left your job, you left your job. And I always really like having the possibility to do pretty much whatever I want, whenever I want. I'm not very comfortable with a locked-in path. I think some people are. I think some people want a career laid out for them that is guaranteed for, 20 years or so. The way things used to be, it seems. That would depress me. I feel like I need the possibility to change it up whenever I want. Is that a trait that helps me save money? I think it is. It might not always be a trait that helps someone save money. It might make someone reckless. I don't know, it worked out for me. Last on the list, I highly value nonsense. Why is that on the list? I don't know, it doesn't make any sense. Finally, I ignore what's out of my control, more or less. I do get concerned about things happening in the news from time to time, but I'm able to separate that out as something that I can't really control, so I'm gonna do what I can. I tend to not just blame the situation or other people or taxes or something outside of what I can do anything about. Because what good is that? That just makes you bitter and angry. Rather, I go back to what I usually do, is assume things aren't gonna work out. I assume that the things out of my control are just not going to be helpful. And so I do what I can to shield myself from it. Also, taxes don't bother me. I'm not anti-tax. I just, account for it. And generally assume it's going to be higher than even what it ends up being. So that's fine. I think playing the blame game is never going to work out well for you. Well, if they wouldn't have booby there, if they wouldn't have then I'd be fine. What is that going to do? Rather, I generally ask myself, what can I do differently? How do I solve this problem? And yeah, that's pretty much it. Those are some of the things about me that I think are why I'm good at saving money. Well, there is one more thing, a more technical thing. I make a budget. And the way that I do that is I use the sponsor of this video, Rocket Money. Rocket Money is the personal finance app that helps you manage your subscriptions, lower your bills, make a budget, and grow your savings all in one place. And that place is the app, actually. It's a virtual place. It's not even a real place. So it's like all in no place. It's amazing. I use Rocket Money. It is the best budgeting app that I've tried. I really like it. Right off the bat, it let me know about a bunch of subscriptions that I neglected to unsubscribe from, and it saved me over $200 per month. With just a couple of taps, I was able to cancel the ones I didn't want anymore. And it also took other bills I was paying and it negotiated a lower price, which I love because I don't like talking to people. I really don't like negotiating. It stresses me out. I do like to be free of worry, as you know. And another way it helps me reduce worry is through the budgeting app. We allocate different expenditures. We set a certain amount we want to pay on groceries per month, on entertainment, on illegal racketeering. No, we don't do that. But if we did, we could budget for it pretty easily. And it will also notify you of upcoming charges that it knows that you get so that you're not caught off guard. And Rocket Money has helped customers save up to $740 per year when they use the premium feature. And they've helped cancel over $500 million of unwanted subscriptions. I mean, overall, not just for me. I don't pay $500 million in subscriptions anymore, because I ran out of money doing that. If you want to take control of your money, go to rocketmoney.com/WheezyWaiter or click the link in the doobly-doo to get started for free. You can try it free. And you can unlock more features with premium. Go to rocketmoney.com/WheezyWaiter to get started today. Thank you, Rocket Money. That's all. Ah! Sorry, I expected that. bad things to happen. Lately, I've been actively posting my newsletter every Tuesday, Two's Better newsletter. You can click in the doobly-doo to subscribe to that, or just go check it out without subscribing. And I have a Patreon if you want to support me. We just did a live stream Jackbox games publicly, but the people who play are the patrons. That's it. I hope I can help you save some money. Maybe get out of a rut, similar to the one that I was in. Or I hope you're not in a rut at all. But then if you're not in a rut at all, did I help you at all? That makes me not feel as good about me. Try to get into a money rut and then use my advice to get out of it, and then I will feel good about me. Okay, thank you for watching.